Chrome has a new feature called Never Pause Here that allows you to better handle situations where Chrome is repeatedly pausing in the same place when that place isn't relevant to the issue that you're debugging. And I've made this little demo app, and you can see it doesn't actually render anything. So I'm going to open the inspector and look at the console, and I can see, okay, there is an error that occurs. To debug this, I tell Chrome to pause on exceptions by clicking here. And then when I reload the page, the error occurs, and I've got the stack trace and can figure out where it's happening. The problem in this case is that I actually have a global error handler. So rather than catching the error in the place that it originally is thrown, I'm catching it globally inside the app. So then I can report it back to the server. And there's a bunch of situations where this would be the case. So for example, if you use a template engine or a framework, they are quite likely to catch the exceptions for you and kind of isolate you from the original error. But the problem with that is that I now no longer have access to the original place the error occurred. So what I want to do is I want to pause on the original exception where this greeting is not defined error occurs. So Chrome allows me to pause not just an uncalled exception, but also pause when an exception occurs inside a try catch block. I'm going to go here and I'm going to reload the page. And this time you can see it's pausing somewhere else. So this is JSON function, which I'm using to initialize the app. But the problem with that is that it's using a try catch block to detect whether like the JSON or path function throws. And that means that even though this isn't the issue that I'm trying to debug, Chrome is going to pause here. So if I click resume, I have to click a bunch of times to run things again and again until I finally get to the right one. And that's fairly doable in like a small application like this, but in a larger application, what I wouldn't want to do is actually disable this breakpoint, because there's just too many different places where this kind of thing can happen. And I can use the Never Pause Here feature to do that. So if I right click on the line number and select Never Pause Here, the next time I click continue, Chrome is going to ignore that particular exception for debugging, and it's going to go straight to the place where this reference error greeting is not defined occurs. So now I know, okay, this isn't defined, and that's because I've misspelled this variable name. So if I go into Sublime to fix it and reload the page, this time everything is working as expected. Another thing that Never Pause Here allows me to do is disable debugger statements. I've got this simple clock app which just updates the page, but I want to inspect something different on the page. But because I have this debugger statement in here, every time I continue and go somewhere else, for example, Chrome is going to push me back to the sources tab. But if I go and click Never Pause Here, I can actually disable this breakpoint. And now you can see it doesn't pause anymore, and I can look at what else is happening on the page.